Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. ¿Cómo te llamas? Da, 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 da. Let me see if we're actually live on here now. I believe we are in a moment. Ooh, shiitake mushrooms. Bro, I just breached over 600 subscribers too. I'm over halfway to 1,000.
So you're over.
Yeah, I'm at 612 right now with subscribers. Man, 612, man. Taking it one step at a time. And bro, the crazy thing is this channel has over 300,000 views.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And I can even tell y'all personally. So when I go to my YouTube studio, the way getting monetized works is, where is it at? The way getting monetized works is like this. I'm already eligible through subscribers and video uploads, and you gotta have one of the following: either 3,000 watch hours or 3 million in short views. So like we could have a conversation and one or two views or one or two videos can get that. We can get monetized based off that, and then getting the subscribers up. So it's just continuing to build. Yeah. So to give a little intro, welcome everybody. Goddamn, happy Thursday, happy third chakra day, happy Jupiter day. This is it's very different than what anybody's ever seen on this channel. I got my brothers from other mothers and fathers. I call us soul brothers because ever since we've met each other, we've built, we've grown, we've established a sense of accountability and just honesty on so many levels. I got my brother Dre, which is under us right in the middle, which honestly makes sense because sometimes Haki he's like the balance between Jared Cinco and Jahir a lot of times. Then we got Jahir, my boy, the poet himself. That man can that nigga words sometimes be gonna shoot it. God damn. So we're just here today to have a brotherly conversation. Here to just be accountable, vulnerable, just being real with each other. Y'all will see us on another channel soon. It'll be called Real Talk. When we go like live and stuff like that, just having a real brother conversation, we may come back here. However, in the meantime, man, just vibe if you're here for the moment. And if we make this public, you are worth everything you want. So just keep living life. Take your time. Don't rush it. So, how are y'all doing, man? How y'all been?
Man, I can't play, man. I'm just okay, bet. I'm just connecting these headphones real quick.
Sorry if I cough periodically. I'm recovered, but I'm still in the coughing. Okay.
Yeah, man. I was coughing at the park today doing these videos, bro. Like it was a random, like just right in the chest. I'm like, damn, what's going on? What's going on?
You had asked a question, Cinco. What was the question you had asked? My bad.
I was just saying how y'all been, like how you doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm good, man. I'm good. Going to Texas 2 weeks to watch my brother graduate, and my little brother's birthday is the 30th, so I'm pretty sure they're probably gonna have like something else. So I'm excited. I haven't seen him in so long, so memories. So that's something I'm excited about. But other than that, maintaining. How you guys doing? How you, Dre-san? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm just, what's the saying? Taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, man. That's all it is, right? We got Cinco, man.
Yeah, I've been honestly, I've been like filling up my cup a lot recently. Like this whole week has been like focusing on filling up my cup and just being as present as possible. That's been my biggest like attributes for how I've been feeling. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. There was a couple things that me and Dre built on when we last talked, and shoot, even when me and you I talked last Wednesday.
Yeah.
And bro, those things were so magnifying because it opened up for me like another realm of like understanding what I unconsciously do that leads to undesired future events. So I've been taking more of my time for real with the decisions I make and being okay with resting. And resting isn't just sleeping. You I wrote a question in the notes that really hit me, I ain't gonna lie. And it was basically like resting is not just sleeping or going to bed. It's allowing your spirit to rest by doing something that kind of takes your energy away from moving
Mm-hmm.
and it takes more into building towards something without necessarily having to really do something, you know?
Yeah.
So that's been a lot what my energy has been on. I'm back at FedEx working my ass off, but I love it though, because two main things I'm learning is getting better with people names, because I used to suck at that, which is helping with my memory. And
Definitely.
secondly, every person I interact with, I actually say something to them. Like I speak, I vocalize myself, and it feels better. It feels like I'm a man of the community.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I always heard like something just business wise, like it's always good to remember someone's name. It's like it feels good to remember your name. Like if someone says your name, Jared, it feels good. You know what I'm saying? For someone to remember your name. So that's something that it is a good. I wouldn't say would it be a skill? I don't know, but it is something good. That's a good trait to have, especially
Yeah.
remembering people's names. Because I'm
I
not
say
good.
it's a,
I'm
I
not
say
good
it's
at it, but
a,
I'm getting better. But yeah, Dre son, how's your day been going?
it's just been really just focusing on a lot of self-care
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said before, I was sick like 2 or 3 days ago, really since Monday evening.
Mhm.
So I'm still on the recovery. And one thing that I learned is that I don't take, I compromise my health a lot, and I shouldn't, if that makes sense. And by compromise, I mean, I may feel this way, but, it's whatever. Like, I still got things I need to do instead of doing what I need to do to get better, and then I end up getting worse. So this time I did a good job and just got into a routine of making sure that I feed myself consistently, go outside, get some sunlight, get at least an hour of exercise, work out if I can, build my body, and also build my skills, my visual library, because that's important for what I want to do. So I've been doing a lot of sketching, a lot of gesture drawings, and also building my mind and my spirit by reading more of Jason Wilson's book, Cry Like a Man. If you haven't read it, I
Mm-hmm.
definitely recommend because it's just so many gems in there, and I had a lot of moments of conviction even today, just reading the chapter I was in, seeing his point of view as a father within that chapter and how it relates to me, and I'm not even a father.
Right.
Gives perspective.
Yeah, it gives a lot of perspective
Yeah.
with spiritual growth, just making sure that I stay consistent with reading the Bible because I am Christian. So reading the Bible is important, and it's important to know the word for yourself. So that way God can speak to you individually and he could give you insights that only you can understand. And I found out recently that my gift is a form of evangelism, which is basically spreading the word to people, but in the context of a life setting. And there's multiple ways to do it through service, but the main way that I realize that I do it is the same way we're doing it now, just talking about our experiences, giving insight on what I've learned from my experiences with Christ and how it helped me and how it can help you, but not saying it in a way that's judging or condemning to others so they could see it for themselves and get their own answer from God, because that's the ultimate goal. But for me personally, my goal is to make sure I stay spiritually grounded, keep feeding my mind every day with something, and making sure that I journal. So, really, just being consistent and nurturing and growing what I already have set in stone, so that way it doesn't come back and bite me in the rear end later.
For real.
That's
Because I'm also graduating soon in the spring 2026. So it's a lot of things that I got to get under control that a lot of people don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already seen at least 3 or 4 graduations, and I say 1 or 2 of them have really had a plan after graduation in effect. And the others I've witnessed, they're just kind of living life right now in celebration mode, which is cool. But for what I want to do, there's a time to celebrate, and there's a time to put in work. And I'm just in that mode right now of I need to be doing whatever I can to make sure that I put in the amount of work that's necessary for me to get to where I want to be. And unlike poetry or music, people can make BS poetry and BS music, but if you BS art, it'll show.
Yeah.
facts. I meant, since you brought that up, Trey, beautifully said. Which the you could say the script that Jared wrote, right, about
Mm.
the seasons. Where do you think you are really good at? Which season for both of you guys, including me? Which season do you think you really excel at? And which season do you think you need um, to really improve in? You know, whether what I'm saying it's the harvesting, the resting. There's always a time for action. There's always a time for resting as well. It's polarity. At the end of the day, you can't always be 100% work because
Mm.
in the back end, you're not gonna have no stamina. It's a lot of things that go in, but just going 100%. It's always rest mode, and that's something I always um, really just needed help with when it comes to resting because I was always that dog just to go 100%. But now I understand resting is really, really important. Really top three, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. So, what do you guys think? It could be Jared or Dre top. But
Um, honestly, summer and spring is the two I really need to hone into a lot of because like my birthday's in the fall, so that's autumn time, and I do a lot of harvest and reflection. Like in the past 6 years, 6.5 years of my journey, when I really started to dig deep into my spirituality and my self awareness, reflecting, rest, and preparation was a lot of the things that I was doing, and yeah, even with spring, new beginnings and restarting helps a lot. However, right now, the growth and nurturing that I really need to implement is just continuing to create, continuing to allow myself to be a creator, and not obviously not try to uh, compare, contrast at all. And new beginnings for me now is more of like every time you get up and start your day, that's a new beginning. Every day is a new start. You're restarting something new. And the three main things I feel like I don't put a lot of time into, because I'm making adjustments kind of more and more on the fly and finding a groove that really works, is the consistent meditations, reading, and I work out a good amount, and I use work as like a workout. Like you don't see no FedEx driver getting out the truck. Do do do. You feel me? Like I'm using it as a workout because I
That man
understand the
gets
importance of
20,000
doing.
steps in, man.
Right, for real. So for me now is like the it's working out. However, it's working out in these two realms. And one realm is basketball because I love that sport. And the other realm is like self-defense. So like Tai Chi, karate, things of that nature, because those are the things I grew up watching. And I never decided to real life hone into why I was so infatuated by that as a child. So for new beginnings and restarting is just continuing to meditate, continuing to read, like Dre said, feeding the spirit, feeding the mind something new every day. Because the mind gets bored. It high key does. The body always wants to do something because the body knows it doesn't have an unlimited amount of time. So it's like I'm not allowing my body to feel over controlled by the mind to the point where we like, shit, we could do it tomorrow. Like, no, there's nothing greater than today, than right now. So being able to put more time and effort into working out, training, and even doing mental training. Like I'm glad I can do this, which is like I'll watch new next chapter, Ball's Live, NBA reactions. And when I watch it, I'm not watching it as an entertainer or creator. I'm watching it as someone who's trying to learn the game. So I understand the game. That's why I always find myself when I put myself into a leader position role when I'm on the court, we win and the games are really good. Everyone plays, everyone does a great job, and everyone picks up after each other. Um, so it's just being able to do that consistently will help me with that growth and nurturing with my music and being a creator. Yep, yep.
Excellent.
I'm sorry.
You good. Your body's doing what it's supposed to do. Real talk. So what would you say, Dre? What seasons would you feel you need to hone into a little bit more? Speaking of which, I'm about to write this down. I'm not gonna waste time here. Just
I was
sitting.
about to say, take notes. I mean, we got
Write this down.
the live, but it's best to take notes while we got fresh.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
I would say that I excel in autumn, spring, and summer because of how I am as a person and how I was raised. Can't really just sit around and do nothing. So when it's time to summer, when summertime comes, I'm ready to grow and nurture certain areas, mostly financial, because as a college student, if you haven't been doing this as a college student, I don't know how you're surviving, but summer is your time to grind and your time to get financially, to nurture your finances. So when you get to spring semester or fall semester, you have more than enough to pay for it. That's just me personally, because I pay for my own schooling. So for me, summer is more so nurturing finances, but also growing in a skill. So for example, it may be gaming if I'm taking a break from art, because that's all I do. Sometimes I need a break from stuff. So it could be gaming. That could be my time where I start playing more basketball, growing in that skill, or working out, growing in the skill of self-care, things of that nature. Spring is a time for planting and new beginnings. I say the area that I kind of suck at is accepting the new beginning. because I have a lot of high expectations on myself just as a creator and as a person. And it's kind of unfair because even if I've never done something, I still have those high expectations, which is toxic in a way. But also, I'm not good at adjusting to change. I can do it, but I have to want to do it, and I have to tell myself that I need to do it. So when it comes to new beginnings, that's where I kind of struggle at with spring. But on the other half of it being a planting season, there's a lot that I plant as well. That's when I start making sure that I have my plans that I built over fall and winter, starting off with those plans. For example, this upcoming spring, well, when spring 2026 comes, I already have a plan for how I want to do my exit show for BFA. So that's something that I'm going to implement, and also things that I'm brewing in the kitchen as far as art career related stuff. But still, that plan is meant to be planted in spring. And then as far as fall, it's a time of reflection and harvest. I think I do well in both because in fall I do a lot of reflection because things start to slow down, things start to change colors, things temperature starts to shift, food starts to shift. Fruits and stuff are in season. Some fruits are out of season. Some fruits only have seasons in summer that you can enjoy. So a lot of things are changing, but it's about that time for things to change. So that's when I start to slow down, make sure I process everything that's going on so I can have the harvest of getting through that semester or having the harvest of with this upcoming fall having a completed portfolio to be able to show traditionally. And as far as winter, I feel like that's the absolute worst for me because I have a hard time making time to rest. That's where I feel that I struggle the most at because, like I said before, I've always been raised to make sure I have something to do in the day, stay busy because laziness isn't tolerated. And so it kind of messed up my views on naps or resting and how important that is. And like you were saying, resting spiritually, not sleeping, because I'm a nocturnal person, so I come up in the nighttime.
Man, for real.
I would say winter it's just very hard for me to rest because I've been on go spring, summer, and fall. Winter is when everything starts to slow down. And that brings me to a question that I'll introduce that I wrote in the notes. And my question was, what do you symbolize as, what do you symbolize winter as? Yeah, that's my question. What do you symbolize winter as? And for example, I'll go ahead and answer first just to give context. For me, I took a literary approach to it at first. Winter to me symbolized death. And for me, that meant death of bad habits. So when I come into my spring period, it's a new beginning, and I've already killed off the things that I don't want bringing into my next season. So I'll leave the floor to you guys.
That's actually a good concept, a great concept, actually, for people who haven't thought that way, just especially from your perspective. But what I thought about winter, or the context would be, really, like I said, I didn't really think anything bad. I always thought of it, like I said, as preparation because you are going to a new year, and always my dad always told me, uh, plan your work and work your plan. So if without having a plan in motion or a desire, a craving of wanting to do something creative, or preparing for something, whether it's the next level for basketball or just training or just that's preparing yourself. It could be also be mentally, like you said, Cinco, just preparing yourself and just watching film. It could be meditating. There's a lot of things that go into mental preparation and spiritual preparation as well. And that's what I always thought winter was for me. It is rest at the same time. You do need to also move as well. So I don't really say rest. It's like 50% for me, when it comes to rest. So I rest when I rest, but when I do work, I'm intentional when I work. So that's how I think of winter.
So both of y'all gave great points, wonderful points. I had to make that statement be known before I move forward with how I view winter. I view winter honestly kind of like a blend of you all's both, to be honest. And I'll give my own perspective of it with this. I see winter as a not only a preparation, but more of like a mental and body collaboration. And what I mean by that is like during the winter, you're doing a lot of staying in the house.
And he just died.
I think he just cut out. Well, y'all, I'm just playing. But nah, man. Cinco, you there? That's how I thought my computer was. I'm not gonna lie. When mine turned off, I really thought that's how my computer. I thought everybody was going.
Somebody called me. Hold up.
Oh, y'all on the phone? I'm on a laptop with it.
Yeah, I'm using my phone because I want to be able to freely do what I gotta do on a laptop if I need to.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. I will be using
so,
the back too.
Sure. So to complete the thought process is winter is a collaboration of the body and mind because during that time period your body's going through a lot of like hibernation, kind of like animals do for the winter, like how beavers and stuff the log for the spring and stuff of that nature. Is I see that as that, and the body is going through like a recharge period. So a lot of people during this time period they do a lot of preparation for their body for the spring, and they make sure they're filling up their nests with as much money they need or however much energy they need, so when spring comes they have all the things, they have all the tools they need to display what was moving forward. So, and I like to play with words a little bit. So winter has the word win and tear in it. So the objective in winter is to take time to analyze the tiers of yourself and do the best you can to win each tier. And winning is not about trying to be perfect, not trying to be 100%, not even trying to be 75%. It's really just about, even if you feel like you don't want to do it anyway. Even if you feel like you're tired, you want to be lazy for the day. No, you got to push through and you got to make yourself you got to make yourself want it more than the ego wants to relax, essentially. Yeah, yes, rest is important, and that is very, 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 very important. It's just also action is just as important as rest. It's a yin and yang symbol, you know what I'm saying? And at a certain point, even if you look at the yin and yang symbol, I could show y'all actually to get a visual. The yin and yang symbol has a point where the everything is blended together. So when it's as it's blended together, there's a position where everything is in balance. So this little point right here is where everything is in balance. When things kind of go more into this side is doing more, or this side is doing more. So the biggest thing during winter is to just find a balance that you can stick with, that goes into the spring, that you can start off with on a larger scale, and then make adjustments during the spring, obviously, to make things work out, and then nurture it during the summer.
I have a question, for those people, my bad, for those people who have a hard time trying to decipher this too. So I want to give a quote to you guys that I read from The Way of Superior Man I read yesterday. And one of the quotes were, right, we just talked about winter resting preparation, right? So every moment waited is a day wasted, and each wasted moment degrades your clarity of purpose. So if we're talking about
Damn, I ain't gonna lie. He needed to pause right there. Like, you can't just move fast. He went a little too fast. His computer did the right thing.
Everybody's dying on the podcast.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna make sure we're actually together, because if we do it this way, it's so many things that can get in the way. Like, nah. And Jahir, when you come back on, say that quote again slowly.
I don't even. My computer just turned off out of nowhere. It said lost connection, but I'm still connected. But anyways, I was saying, with that quote, right?
No, say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
I have it right here. So each moment waited is a day wasted, and each wasted moment degrades your clarity of purpose. So for the people that deciphers, well, how can I stop doing what I need to do, but you're telling me to rest? So let's break that down for people who really need that, to just get that context. Because we are talking about rest and preparation. We do need both. Like it is a yin and yang to it, and it's a polarity as well. So you also need rest, but you also need a call time to also do and fulfill your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll take a stab at it.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll go after you.
Anyway.
All right. Okay. How you not gonna do it?
Answer that question, because I'm answering it myself. I say for those who do have a hard time of balancing rest and work, I would say to think of yourself. Think of your best self. Would your best self be stressed all the time working, or would your best self be at peace? Me personally, my best self is at peace, doing what he needs to do and resting accordingly. Now, how do you do that? Structure and consistency. I have a set amount of time over the past 3 days that I dedicate to working on me mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. I have a set time to spend doing things that I enjoy, gaming. I have a set time to build, which is practicing and drawing, painting. A set time to learn via watching videos, and I'm currently doing a master class for digital art, and having a set time to rest too. And by a set time, be realistic. If you did a whole 8 to 12 hours worth of self-work, working out, gaming, going outside, hooping, all that stuff, or even actual work, you realistically need a good 2 to 3 hours of rest.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, resting is physically laying down for 15 minutes, closing my eyes, no phone, no screen, no book, just laying down, relaxing. After that, it's like a reset for me. And then to get more into that restful state, that's when I'll start watching my anime, getting comfortable, so that way I don't feel like I need to do something. I'm already preoccupying myself.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a way that I balance, working and resting, because it's hard, but if you really look at your time and divide it, it's really easy.
Definitely. Especially having a routine as well. I just want to add that in there. Especially having a routine and, like I said, being intentional with those routines. And like I said, and also managing your time, having a set time for each thing. For example, right? If I go play basketball for more than an hour, if I work out more than an hour, you should also be doing this as well with everything you do. Stretch after, before and after. Let's put that there. Before, stretch before and after. That's with anybody. Anybody who's working out. Before and after, and decompress. So how I decompress, I have like, like the little legs things to pull up, and it's like they have a cooling system. They like kind of pressure your leg. I have one of those. Got those off Amazon, and I had used one of those. That's how my legs just, you know what I'm saying? It's like an ice bath for me, for my legs. So the rest of my legs, I can do whatever I can, read a book, eat something, rest a while it's done. And after that, I do what I can, take a bath, take a shower, that case. So that's like my resting and how I rest and de-stress or decompose or just like let go of everything while I'm trying to focus focus on resting, just being in the present moment of resting, and reflecting. That's my wonderful take on that.
That's wonderful. So as y'all were saying that, I wrote down the question. It's the same question that y'all were saying. I just turned it more into like a journal entry, because one of the things I know 1,000% I need to do is take 1 or 2 days out the week to really read what I wrote for like the past week, to give myself a true reflection period, to understand what I've taken out of my mind, out of how I've been feeling, what is on the paper. And what I wrote was, how can I balance rest plus work? So the first thing I like to do when I ask any questions is break down the question itself. Like, well, first, what are other ways of rest without actually sleeping? And what Dre said was wonderful. Laying down for like 15 minutes, just no phone, nothing, and just really setting yourself down and being still. That's wonderful. One of them. Another one, watching TV, meditating, journaling, reading, walking, singing, writing. Writing could be like music tense or poetic style, drawing, cleaning, and organizing. And I feel what these really do, it rests the body to feel like it has to meet a deadline or it has to meet a certain time period. It takes away that feeling of trying to be on time for something. It's taking time out of the matter. It's really just giving yourself a moment of spontaneity with like a mix of like creativity without trying to be so perfect with it. And one of the things I know I suffer with is that perfectionist type of mindset because of because of my expectations, for sure. And the energy I bring to the places I'm around, because I've always been a type to want to make sure each side feels acknowledged and respected. So with myself, it's like my ego wants to do this, that, and the third. I'm like, I see what you mean. Okay, what does my spirit want to do? This, that, and the third. And I always try to play like the table of, all right, I want everybody to be able to eat at the same table, even if they don't like everything each side does. So I have that internal like struggle that I'm balancing here and there to ensure I don't overfeed this or underfeed that, and also understanding the scales of it. Because sometimes, high key, you have to do things physically to allow your spirit to build what needs to be done on the back end. And you have to do things spiritually, which allows your body to rest so that you can be more active later on. So it's like balancing rest and work and rest and being active. It just really depends on what you describe rest is for you. Because a lot of times what I do is, if I know I don't want to spend too much time reading, scrolling, or making music or whatever, I would set a time period. Like I would set a clock and be like, all right, move it over there. When it's done, when it goes off, all right, I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna look at the time. I'm not gonna pressure myself about the time. I'm gonna just be fully in the moment. And being off my phone, taking Instagram off, Facebook off, I still be on YouTube. It's just taking those apps off. It takes me away of feeling like I'm so into the lives of people who I don't see, who I don't be around. It allows me to fully be in tune with what I have going for myself, because that is the most important thing. There's nobody that we watch on social media or these platforms that's going to personally reach out, grab you, and be like, hey, you can be part of this. Come join in. That's not going to happen. You have to build that platform for yourself so that other people want to connect with you based off the hard work that you did. And along with that hard work is giving yourself that time to rest so that your mind is rested enough and your body is calm enough to where you make decisions that fuel your soul, that fuels that spiritual energy that you have within you, so that you're always in alignment with what really truly is you. Journey's on.
That's valid.
Damn near blind a nigga. Hold up. Shit. Damn.
Everybody dying in the chat.
Facts. I'm gonna have to get more of these though, because 9 times out of 10 when we do the what's the name, these things are pretty bright as you can see. So I would like to have I have 3 tripods. One could be for the camera, and we could have 2 of these with the lights kind of onto us, so we have more lighting. And I'm pretty sure the guy who I do the podcast for, he'll let me use the lighting thing that we use. It doesn't change colors like this one, but it's a LED white light, so it could still give some force. Still get some force for sure.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
How you guys feeling right now, man?
Shoot, I feel inspired, man. I even as I'm reading this on May 10th at 1:35 p.m. I wrote this as a prayer, right? I wrote, ancestors, help me gain the structure and discipline that my dad never gave me. Help me make decisions that me months from now can appreciate. Lastly, help me build my willpower to get my YouTube platforms the light they deserve. And that goes back into work and rest. Like, I feel like moments like this, we can obviously say it's work because we're building on the conversation. We're doing things that in the third. It can also be looked at as rest because it's giving our spirit the chance to express what has been holding on to and rest the body's drive and pressure to want to move around so much to give what it is that we need to give. It's like a mixture of both. That's how I see podcasts and things of that nature, because you can take your time. Nobody's rushing you to talk. No one's forcing you to do this, that, and the third. It's just a normal conversation. And if you take your time with the conversation, it's like you're allowing the rest version of you that's peaceful, that's allowing itself to be calm, and the version of you that works hard, that doesn't need sleep but wants sleep at the same time. uh, they blend together wonderfully. That's why honestly I like how much more podcasts are putting themselves into position to be more in the light of people, because it gives people a chance to express themselves and be themselves authentically. Like that's a blessing. Like a lot of people, like if people in 2008 were to be seeing this right now, they'd be like, "What the hell? What y'all got going on? Y'all,
Right.
I don't know." But then when they see more people doing it, they're gonna be like, "Shoot, I mean, why not do it?" You know what I'm saying? So speaking of
Especially
that
at
shit,
our age too, man. Like we have a lot to say based on experience and what we're also experiencing in the world right now. Like in 2008, man, we were young as hell. You know, like we didn't have no. We were still young. We were still, you know, let's say I want to say sheep, and let's say sheep, but but now like we have our own mind, and we're also thinking, and we're also seeing things as well. It gives us a better perspective, and right, like at our age right now, young black men, I feel like I don't want to be that guy, but I feel like we have it hard as well. I'm not saying nobody else have it hard, but men have it hard. Women also have it hard, but men have it hard as well because we have to sacrifice, right? Nobody care. Nobody cares about the feelings. What did Chris Rock say? Only people that get unconditional love are mothers, what pets and children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, we always had that edge, So that's why men inspire me when people like don't have an education, they still make it out of where they came from and they still succeed. Like we always had that edge and that sacrifice to put whatever's on the line, even death. Like that's how we are as men. So it's crazy just thinking stuff like that. And the potential we have as well, like
man, that's a deep one. That even made me like look up to things when you were talking, because nobody knows who was the first ever podcast or what was the first podcast. It was a audio blog, the first ever podcast that was created. The first true podcast was by Adam Curry on August 2004. Damn.
Soldier Boy probably got him beat, man. I don't know. Soldier Boy, I don't think got him beat, man.
And then I looked up something because I sent Rotimi's podcast that he did with Harley Initiated, and he said something really interesting that I feel like no one's ever said. And he said, "I don't want to be a goat. I'd rather be a sheep." And I was like, "Huh? What do you mean by that?" So he made this point, and as I looked up the picture, it makes sense. He says goats always have their ears down. So they're not necessarily willing to listen to those that he's leading or those that he's around to do what he needs to do. But sheep has their ears open. So I even looked at the picture and I can show y'all. Can I switch the camera? Can I switch the camera? How do I do it? Hold up. Yeah. I figured it out, nigga. So, oh shit. So you see how the sheep, can y'all see it? Mm-hmm. There you go. So yeah, sheep have their ears open and goats have their ears closed. And that makes me question, like, how we always talk about the term greatest of all time. I ask this question, greatest of what time? What timeline are you trying to generate as you're being the greatest of that? Like, at one point, everybody wanted to be a goat at something, right? The sports, music, all of that. Everybody wants to be at the pinnacle, the peak of something. And I feel like me and Dre can definitely relate to this. And obviously you too, Jai, here. I just remember me and Dre talking about this a lot more. That we don't really care to be at like being at the pinnacle of what it means to be wealthy, rich, or influential, and things of that nature. We want to be able to build the groundwork so that those who come after us can build to that point and they continue to build on that pyramid. You know what I'm saying? Because realistically, like being a GOAT is not only being a leader, but making the risk, taking a certain chances, not only on yourself but on your environment to do what it is that you plan for yourself. Now with sheep, and this is just how I'm viewing it at the moment, they're following the group that they're aligned with. That's how it is. And if they're following the group that they're aligned with, is then on the point of who's the leader of this group, who's the head sheep, or who's the black sheep of the group. You know what I'm saying? The one that is willing to take the risk, but also willing to kind of be outside of the norm to show that the other sheep that this is possible. Just know it's a little risky, but it's possible. You know what I'm saying? So what do y'all think about that perspective? Would y'all not necessarily agree or disagree, but what are your opinions on that viewpoint with sheeps and goats?
My other question I had that made me think and infer was like, what? Who is the shepherd, right? In order to lead a flock, or in order to lead a flock of sheep, you need a shepherd. That's the leader. That's the somebody who is gonna make impact. Like I said, is you're following somebody who doesn't even know where they're going. You know what I'm saying? It's like faith, a leap of faith. So depending on who your leader is, that's the flock of people that's gonna follow.
Right.
So that's what I think about, because it's like what also is with a sheep. It's a shepherd, right? And they should be nurturing. But you also have other, you know what I'm saying, and put another perspective, you also have other shepherds who just want for power, or us. So it's a lot of things can go in that perspective of who are you actually following, and you know what I'm saying, that goes on who's on following on your phone, on your page, who are you following on Instagram, right? That's you're a sheep to whoever you're following because of the content, right? If you want positive, you find, you know what I'm saying, motivation. You find something that's in your creative zone instead of finding the opposite, right? That's what you're seeing every day. So it's a lot of things that can go into that. That was just my question and my inferring from your viewpoint. If you have anything, Dre.
I'm sorry. I feel like if I was to break it down, the thoughts that were in my head, just what both of you were saying, I would go to answer Jared's question first before I get into what Jahir was talking about before with how manhood is difficult. But to answer this current question and to answer Jahir's question about the shepherd as well, I would say the difference between a goat and a sheep is a goat is based off of exceeding an expectation that others would see as unbeatable, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
A sheep is simply just a viewer. And to answer Jahir's question about who is the shepherd, for me, it's a simple answer. God is my shepherd. Jesus is my shepherd. But for others, it may be hard because when it comes down to sheep and goats, it's all about who is your idol.
Exactly.
And an idol doesn't have to be a person. An idol can be your phone. An idol can be a mindset. An idol can be a structure, a hierarchy. So
a group.
exactly, if your shepherd is LeBron James, you're gonna do everything that LeBron James does in some way, shape, or form, and you're gonna base your life off of that. So it's really just knowing who you are as a sheep and who you want to follow that can lead you to the destination where you want to be, like Jared was saying. And then as a goat, to me, I don't want to be the greatest of all time. I don't want to be all of that because I don't want to be anybody's idol. I'd rather be kind of like what John was saying in the Bible. A lot of people thought that John was Jesus at that time. He was like, no, I'm not, but I know of him and I could show you to him. So I'd rather be like John in a sense. And then as far as Jahir's earlier topic of manhood and why it's difficult, I was reading Cry Like a Man from Jason Wilson, and the one thing that he had brought up was in his fatherhood is when his daughter was a baby, everything was cool because, she's to Jared's point, a sheep at that point. You're basically following the shepherd that is your parents because that's what you have at that point, right? But there comes to a point to where the sheep matures and they look for other sources or shepherds to follow. And from his standpoint, that's where he started denied expectations that have been built within their relationship when she was young. But now that she wants to go out and explore different things and become her own person, those expectations that Jason had on his daughter caused him to start being strict on certain things, questioning why, or even telling them that it's kind of worthless to think that way. Some parents do because of their personal experience. So the reason why manhood is so difficult is because of expectation. There's so much pressure an expectation and theories of what a man is, what a man is supposed to be doing, how a man is supposed to act, how a man is supposed to be, these features. And we get that from the beginning. As a boy, we're taught how to be boys. As a girl, we're taught how to be girls. There's expectations for females too, but the male expectation, it has so much ridicule behind it, not only from children, but also from women and from our own other men. If you look at a failure as a man would tell you, I'll just use this as a quote. A quote unquote man will tell you who is a failure of a man. A quote unquote woman will tell a man that he's a failure. And I say quote unquote on women because they don't understand manhood, but yet they can tell you about how a man is supposed to act. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Children, you're a failure as a father because you don't adhere to these aspects, which means you're a failure as a man. Teachers, all of society is built off of a false expectation of manhood that we are required to upkeep. And if we go against that, not only are we not men, we are less. Whereas with women, it's an expectation that they're emotional. So we're able to accept that they're emotional. We're able to accept that they have mindsets that are purely emotional.
Mm-hmm.
From the get-go, we understand that children, they're young and dumb, but they're smart and can absorb anything. That's an expectation. We don't expect a kid to know how to do taxes. We don't expect a kid to know how to get a job. However, we expect a man, a young man at that, who's never done it before, to know how to do it just because that's what men know how to do. We expect a man to know how to build something. We expect a man to know how electricity works. We expect a man to be smart, to be successful, to be outside of himself, to be stoic and rigid at all times. All of those expectations. That's why it's hard to be a man.
And I can even get into a history aspect of it because um, uh, when slavery was first really starting, the reason why a lot of the Africans at the time they kind of conformed to what was going on because I believe at that point, and it's I feel like it's like an ancestor telling me this. I believe at that point when things was happening and ships were being put together and all of that for them to be shipped over here, or those who were already here and they were seeing them come over and whatever, they looked at them with empathy, with emotional vulnerability, not with they aliens, or a better way to say it, not as if they don't deserve to experience life with us. So to not make this a race thing at all, I bring that up because we have a history as men to be empathetic with others. The problem is we have a genetic trauma trait which makes it feel as if we can't be empathetic with other men because they will use that as a tool to fight us, to kill each other, to want to harm one another based on our emotional vulnerability. That's why a lot of men as well fail with the heart exploration of connection because we expect so much out of what we've traumatically experienced. It's been hard for us to really accept the unity of what things can be. And it's like that cloudedness of what's happened before, what we've seen in movies, what we've seen in TV shows, what we've personally experienced. That traumatic experience continues to play. And it's like, I feel like anytime you make somebody smile, we don't know how many times they've wished they could smile prior to us making them smile. Like, things can kind of be so deep. You can go out somewhere, you be having a good day, and you see somebody who's frowning, their energy's low, and you say something to them, you bright them up. That's essentially like you're healing a generational trauma just with that reaction with that person. You're healing their whole DNA, their heart. You're opening them up to the ability to feel good. And with men, we sometimes, a lot of times, have a failed at allowing each other to feel good without making it sexual, without making it seem like we're trying to get something out of the other person, without making it seem like it's a money thing, simply because of what we've seen so much and what we've heard and absorbed so much with music, TV shows, and movies. And I feel like one of the best ways to realistically always um, be able to balance out that ability to be emotionally accepting to your environment and also to be protective of your spirit because of how the environment is giving your flowers what they deserve. Like, everyone deserves their flowers. Every FedEx driver, every McDonald's worker, every Burger King flipper, every goddamn Uber driver, everyone deserves their flowers because at the end of the day, they're doing something to make sure either their family's good, they're good, or their future is good. Everyone is planning for something. Everyone is a walking manifestation of what they've wanted to be or what they're going to become in the future. So it's like, it's very, very adamant that as even we're talking now, and 9 times out of 10, I'm probably gonna clip this up too because we're having this is a normal thing. This is normal for us. So even as I say this now, it's like um men have to consistently do a better job of not repeating the past. And that's
Definitely.
very hard because the past is comfortable. What we've done
Mhm.
before is very, very comfortable. And the everyone says you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's this, that one Marine or that one dude who that Joe Rogan had on his podcast. He's bald, he's fit, and he does a lot of workouts and stuff like that. I don't know his name. However, he was one of the guys that said a lot of like, you have to make yourself be uncomfortable so that you can get to the next aspect of you. That's dope. That's physical uncomfortability, right? We know there's layers to a lot of things now. There's mental comfortability, there's emotional comfortability, there's spiritual comfortability. And with men specifically, we need to improve at being emotionally uncomfortable so that we can show our children that it's okay to be this way, that we need to show our partners it's okay to be this way, show our parents it's okay to be this way, because let's be frankly honest, our generation is the most vocal generation of the entire probably planet. Like, real talk. You don't see people doing what we do in the past 50 years. You don't see it. And if you do, it's behind closed doors, either ritualistically, religiously, or toxically, because they're probably talking about somebody else, this, that, and the third, and keeping it to themselves. Like, I was watching a live the other day. Bro said that um, unresolved information turns into inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to express, being able to let go and not repeat the past allows ourselves to move forward, not only as men, but also as humans, also as souls. Like, it allows us to move on to that next stage. So, yeah.
That's fire, bro.
I want to add
That's fire.
in a quote that you had talked about as far as being united, and I got it today actually. And when I was reading "Cry Like a Man," and it said, "To be one, to be united is a great thing, but to respect the right to be different is maybe even greater."
Facts.
And I want to pose a thought and see what y'all think because it just came to me. Since we're on the topic of manhood, seasons, goats, sheep, it made me think it's sad that every man has been raised to follow the fallacy of manhood as its shepherd.
Bro, I'm gonna say this before you continue because that just hit me on like a childhood level.
That's all I.
That hit me on like a childhood level because like growing up, right? My mom would always tell me, "Why are you following them? You know you a leader." I'm like, "Okay, cool." I hear myself now back then saying, "What does a leader look like? What is this supposed to look like?" Like,
Yeah.
if I'm following these guys, I first off, I didn't know where they were leading me to. I was following them because they were cool. We always got along and stuff like that. However, now it's like I can hear me talking to my younger self saying, "What is a leader to you? Like, how can you be a leader for yourself?" And my first experience actually being a leader was when I played football. Like, I single handedly, nah, I saw on a collective level what it's like to not only stand out, put myself in other people's light to help them overcome their own uncomfortability. Like I was the guy on the football team. I wasn't the biggest, the strongest, no, but I was a workhorse. Like my work ethic showed. I didn't bench 250. Like I couldn't even get over 200. However, I showed you what it's like to be consistent and to overcome what it means to be uncomfortable. Like we would do a squat set and it's heavy week. Each set we do, diamond push-ups, knock out 15. Do it anyway. You're gonna feel good afterwards. It's gonna suck, but you're gonna feel good. After practice, I was the receiver and tight end and safety. We doing routes. We doing one-on-ones. We doing 7-on-7s if we can. You know what I'm saying? And then what's the name? When I see them around in school during the day, pull them to the side like, hey, how you doing though? You all right? What's going on with classes? What's going on? I know you've been dealing with this girl and stuff like that. Don't let her fuck your mind up. You know what I'm saying? Don't get caught up with the pussy and shit. Like if I see them skipping, hey man, come on, just go to class, bro. It's probably an easy class too. Just go to class. You good? So it's like uh, I subconsciously started to pick up what it means to be a leader in high school and being out of school now, obviously, and later I will be going back to school. It's like now I'm building what it means to be a leader in more of the business, influential light, and the social media light, because a lot of guys say they're a goat and this, that, and the third. Is just what are you leading me to? Like, where are you taking me if I was to follow you? You know what I'm saying? So that quote, Dre, that hit me on such a large level. That hit me on such a large level.
That was tough.
It's just a thought I had with everything we've been discussing. And I say, as far as leadership, for me, it's more so with you, you kind of subconsciously have been doing leadership. For me, leadership is now transitioning from being a follower, and then everybody that you were following has graduated or has gone on to the next stage of their life.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's your turn to be the leader.
Mm-hmm.
And from that standpoint, from an art perspective, that's where I'm speaking from. All of the people that I looked up to within my past 2 to 3 years being at Georgia State main campus, I've been following them because seeing what they do aligns with what I want to do, seeing their potential, seeing how they push themselves, how they visualize things. Now all of them have graduated. So sometimes you're placed in a situation to where you have to be a leader, not necessarily building yourself up for people to follow you. I'm not working in that kind of mindset because now your expectation is based on others and not based on you. So for me personally at this time, I need to be a leader in a sense of having that same drive and discipline that they put into their work and put it into mine. And if I see somebody that could use some advice within their work, and some people do ask me because with colors and stuff or anatomy, they'll just be like, "How do you do this, and this?" And I'll teach you straight up. It's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. Some artists don't even know how they create, but I've got it down to a science. And that's the kind of leader that I want to be, a leader that can show you the science of how this mindset works, of how these actions lead up to this. I'd rather be an intellectual leader more so than a role model leader, as somebody to live by.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Leading more with action instead of with what's the word I'm looking for? Leading with action more instead of what's the word I'm looking for? Expectation, I guess.
I say leading with action compared to leading with guidance.
Yes.
That's good too. Or leading with a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I just want to say being a leader is not easy. So just putting that out there, like being a leader is actually quite difficult. It's really uncomfortable as well. You know, just what we were talking about, being uncomfortable puts you in greater position and puts you in a greater place because you also have to lead yourself. You can't lead anybody else if you can't lead yourself, right? And it starts with your mind, and the body will also follow. So if you want to lead somebody, and not if you want to lead somebody, like you're also your whole intention is not to lead somebody else. Like I said, your whole intention is to lead yourself, and people will come and follow because they see your light and the action that you're doing, and you have a plan of action to go somewhere, right? That's they don't know where you're going, but they know the drive that you're doing. It's like, damn, this man's working. I'm gonna follow him. I wanna work with him. They don't know where you're going at all, but they see the drive, the ambition. They see everything in the back, in the low key end, the back end. It's just like, wow. People don't know what he's doing, but he's doing great things. And they know you're going somewhere, but they don't know where you're going. Even you don't know where you're going. You're going based off faith, right? And the faith of making it and being in the present moment and praying and meditating and resting, right? All these things come into fruition and they come into reality as well as being a leader, right? My my type of leadership is also just being the emotionally intelligent and also being an impactful leader, right? I want people to be impacted in many ways just by, like I said, based off a smile, man. Like a lot of people don't have a smile or a hug, man. So I feel like a lot of that is needed. And not only just manhood and just like fatherhood as well. Like we don't embrace that type of thing. We don't embrace just loving each other more, man. That's what the world needs. And just asking and just, hearing wisdom, listening, actively listening, right? We all need that as a leader. And also showing you how we can manage these emotions and be better as men. So that's how I look at it as a leader myself. And I know I have to. I can't run away from being a leader because I have to be a leader.
Yeah.
Right? I'm around women, so I have to be a leader. I have little siblings. I have to be a leader. I have to show them that there's a way. There's no limit to what you can do. If you see me doing it, you see me completing this, the sky's the limit.
Facts.
You feel me? So it's the people behind us. Like I just said, we're building the foundation. That's the leadership of what we're doing. And the people that are seeing the light and seeing the conversations that we're showing at our age and as we grow, people will start, okay, wow, like this is underrated. This is a group that people need to hear, you know, and that comes with time, right? It's all about the preparation and the consistency of being a leader as well.
Man, it's funny because as I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I see you as like a mature ass Simba, bro. The one that didn't have to lead the pack,
It's
the
funny.
motherfucker.
It's
Like you
funny
didn't
you
have
say
to do that.
that.
All you did was take a little walk down a little path. You know what I'm saying? You talked to a couple elephants, talked to a couple giraffes and shit, got different perspectives and came back. It was like, all right, I know what to do. Cause like I still remember to this day, bro. Like uh before me and you ever hooped at Bryson, me and Dre have a couple times. And
Mm-hmm.
people used to say shit to Dre, but Dre would tee up every time they say something, whether it's with a steal, a block, get in the bucket, every time.
Mm-hmm.
We go to Bryson, bro. Not only was that dude tripping, but you was ready to beat his ass just off the fact that he was bugging out. And that to me shows like the protective side of you that I know you had to develop with having sisters as well. So
Mm-hmm.
that is such a very strong thing. And that's something that I haven't even really like took time to really develop as far as with more action with my body. I protect more with words. Like for instance, I love making people either feel stupid or make them feel like, oh damn, okay, my fault. You know what I'm saying? I like having people feel, and that's why even earlier when we was talking about spring and the aspect of starting and new beginnings, the aspect of getting better with self defense. Because I'm not gonna put myself into a position where I am not confident in taking care of the situation at hand. Now, if it gets to that point, yeah, I got to make adjustments. It's just
Definitely.
I wouldn't put myself in that position unless it has to be that way. Until how
I
this
don't.
leads more into leadership, it made me even think about this when Dre was talking. To be a great leader, you have to overcome the shadow of wanting people to follow you. And that's been something I've been going through a lot. Like, probably not gonna lie, after Anya, which was 2023, the end of 2023, from that point to like probably February of this year, I've been going through like a uh I've developed understanding that yes, you have to lead yourself, and also you have to recognize even if nobody's watching you, you always have somebody watching you, if that makes sense. God's always watching, your ancestors always watching, your mother's watching, your brother's watching. You know what I'm saying? Everyone is always watching you. So even if you feel like you don't have people that you're leading, you do all the time. Perfect example. I started talking about school so much. My mom wants to go back to school. My stepdad's trying to go back to school, type of shit. And what's the name? Even with my brothers, like they say they want to work out when I tell them like I'll be working out, but they don't really want to do it. However, the fact that they have the energy to even want to say it, even if there's no action behind it, saying something is an action itself. I'll give it that. I'm not gonna go deeper into that. However, the fact the stuff I do inspires people to move into that next step because they see it's possible through me shows that I have the leadership qualities to bring things forward. And getting rid of that idealistic mindset of people need to follow me, it unlocked the gemstone of realizing that, like I just said, everybody's always watching. There's no one not watching. You know what I'm saying? And as a leader, you will start to see when and feel too, like you'll feel it for real when you're doing things that doesn't fuel that leadership quality. You know what I'm saying? You'll feel like your cup is empty. You'll feel like your discernment is off. You'll feel like what you're doing doesn't really matter. Like I went through that last week itself simply because I was doing things that felt good to the body. However, I wasn't balancing the things I needed to do with my spirit. So as I'm pouring my cup out, I wasn't filling it with something out. I just kept pouring and pouring and pouring. You know what I'm saying? It damn near got to a point I had to find a new cup type shit. I went from goddamn this. No, I should say I went from this to goddamn this type of thing. Like I had to figure out, okay, why should I use this cup? That's just another way of saying what is my why. So being able to re recharge myself and utilize the energy of summer to grow as much as I can and nurture that energy of leadership is very impactful, super impactful.
It's interesting to hear both of you express your leadership in a way, because Jahir is more so, like he was saying, emotional, a positive force, not necessarily a spirit, but a pushing.
Yeah.
With Jared, to me, it kind of boils down to not only inspiration, but you bring conviction to people.
Mm-hmm.
You make people truly think about where they are and make them want to do things that are beneficial for them. And you see the highest form of them, and you give feel goods to that extent within your leadership. And with me, I feel like my leadership is more so strategic.
It definitely is, especially working with you and becoming friends with you from working at McDonald's. Like, I don't think you really know the story of how we really became friends, bro. At first, it was just mornings. What up? What up? Next thing, you know what I'm saying? And then it was the night shift. I see this nigga work ethic. I'm like, damn, hold up. We might got something cooking in here. And then we started to build just off the work ethic. Dre, you probably never knew this. You were the leader in that motherfucking kitchen, bro. I was not the nigga that was like you were the shepherd. I was the sheep in that damn kitchen. I don't care what you may think. You were, bro. Like this nigga made the finest frappes, burritos, burgers, nigga. He was going stupid. He was going dumb, nigga. He'll tell me, hey Jared, drop fries. Got you, nigga. Jared, drop nuggets. Got you, nigga. Like what? Dre always led with action and expression because even when I used to smoke, right? And work at McDonald's at the time. Dre would take it upon himself to ask us weird ass questions, and it wasn't just to make us laugh at the time, even though he probably think that was too. I'm picking up more of like he was doing that to make sure we were still in the mindset to get the job done. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And
Exactly.
that's is what's more important. That's one of the one of many keys that Dre has provided for not only me and even all the other people he's helped throughout his life to when it comes to what Dre brings to the table because he makes you realize like, hey, you can do that. That works, but if it's costing you your peace, what the fuck are you doing? Like he may not curse, but he'll say it in a way it feels like he's saying, "What the fuck are you doing?" And
Yeah.
as as the man who I am and the people I'm around, like that means a lot because the only person who would do that for me was my mom, and that only
Mm-hmm.
lasts for so long because I'm like, yo, I'm taller than you now. I'm not finna yeah, mom. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have somebody who's either my age or someone who I can look up to, rather it's height or just age that I can respect to the point where it's like, okay, I get where you're coming from. And I understand how it led to this because you're showing me or you've told me in a story or things of that nature how I got there. So yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's even more funny that you say that because in a lot of situations, I don't necessarily see myself as the leader, but a lot of people will tell me that I am a leader, but that's only because of how I strategize things. I really just observe, and if I see that something can be better, I put people where they're supposed to be.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As a child, I played a lot of tactical strategy games.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Emblem, like my
I'm not
favorite.
running. I'm a running gun guy. That's for me.
Like,
I just need a destination, and I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna force it to get there.
yep.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's who I am.
But Fire Emblem for me was my favorite game because not only did it teach me how to think, it taught me how to understand the purpose of what people have and how to make it work to complete the goal.
Hmm.
So, as far
Mm-hmm.
as aspects of leadership that Jared or Jahir might have, I would show less with words, more with action.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the strategy part of leadership, I'm good at telling people about themselves. And not in a way of ridicule, but in a way of, hey, this is what I observe. This is what we need to. I would suggest that you do this task because, for example, if you're not really good at physically lifting stuff, like at Home Depot, there was a period working in the garden department where I had to basically be the supervisor for 4 months. And that was my little drop of true leadership. And every day you could ask anybody I worked with. I had a sheet of paper with my task, how I was going to do that task, what task I'm going to delegate based off of what team I have. So I would say if Jahir is the emotional enforcer, Jared is the convictional inspiration, I would just say I'm the strategist.
Yeah.
Shikamaru.
For
Literally.
real. Oh God.
I'm in the background and like literally people come up to me
He's
and ask
loaded.
for advice. Ask I don't tell people like, oh, I think you should do this. Like no, they'll literally just ask me and be like, well, what do you think? You seem like, because you're a Christian and because of how you are in your work ethic, I could tell you're a good guy. So what do you think? So I just work with my mind, and that even goes to who I was around too. Like my dad, he was always the type. Whenever I get in trouble, he knows how to kick a man when he's down. But he's the type
Damn.
where I got my thinking from and my strategizing and putting people in place. He would be the type to ask me after I did something that got me in trouble. He'd be like, what do you think was the purpose of that? For one, what do you think you gained out of it? And what do you think you should be punished by? What do you think your punishment should be?
Damn.
If
I
you ask
like
me
that
that,
though. I like
if you
that
ask me
though.
that,
Imagine having to answer those questions and you failed, trying to avoid getting your butt whooped.
ain't no avoiding.
Any other possible explanation that you could say to where he is not going to whip your butt?
Mm-hmm.
He's making you critically think based off of the evidence. I failed this test. The next premise or the next consequence is I'm going to get my butt whooped. Did I deserve it? Yes. Can I come up with a point to say that I didn't deserve it? No. I
Nope.
failed the test. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. What punishment do I think I should receive? I hate to say it, but a whipping is probably the best action because I love my game.
Right.
I love being able to go outside. If I have it taken away, it's gonna deprive my mental and my emotional.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
You ever had
That
your outside taken away from y'all?
Yeah.
Like, I had outside taken away. You know how like jealous I was? My friends
wait,
be like,
ask the
come out
question again.
outside. You ever like got banned from going outside for like a short amount of time because you got in trouble?
Yes.
Like you couldn't go
Ah,
outside.
damn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are like my friends be like literally next door, the basketball. I just sit in the window. Yeah.
Day after day.
Yeah, you just sit in
That's
the
bad.
window.
I've had both. There was a time where I was just strictly an inside kid. My punishment was to go outside, and then once I
That's
learned that I like nature and I like being outside, and there's a lot to do out there, and there's freedom, they took that away. So I was like, dang.
Yeah.
At both ends of the
that's
coin.
nah.
Yeah. Should I experience that out here? Uh, Oddly, because like I moved here when I was freshman in high school, and as a kid, I only went outside for football practice when I was out with my dad on Sundays, and the 2 or 3 times I was outside, something always was about to happen or happened. First time me and my little brother go to the park to go hoop. We leave after he hits a game winner. Somebody starts shooting at the park. Then we playing catch in the cul-de-sac. Some 3 cars pull up fast at the corner store. I'm like, damn. So we had to leave. And then what's the name? And then other times it just like, started pouring because Chicago be raining like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But like, man, out here it was more of like, um, it was either I had to be outside all day or I'm staying inside all day. It was not no in and out the house. It was like I had to choose because, I remember I started smoking the day I turned 16 or the day after or something like that. No, I started working at 16. My freshman year of high school, sophomore year. I started smoking sophomore year. I was so afraid of the smell on me. I would smoke and be out all night till it was left, till I smelled like outside. And then I would come back home like, where you been all day? Shit, at the park, just at the park, just hooping. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, my dad though, as far as how he punished me, he gave me and all my brothers a whooping one time only. Never again, my nigga. Never fucking again. He like we had red little bristlets on our ass afterwards. Like it was bad. It was one of those. Like it was horrible. Now my older brothers though, he used to punch them in the chest. He was like, "Come here, foul!" Right in the chest. They be. I'm like, damn. I
He
never
did
experienced.
that. He did
I didn't experience it.
Ultra
They
instinct
did.
punch.
Hmm?
Came right in the chest. He did the ultra instinct punch.
Yeah, bro. He
So
did the
you
1 inch punch.
you come in, you trying to walk in, he was in.
Great, man. And another thing I was when Dre was talking about the game he played growing up. This game my dad put me onto it. It was called Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. It was a video game where you basically I'll show y'all. So you're basically playing like a color game. And the color game, you're on the left and the team dudes on the right. You have to basically continue to get your stuff down to the point where theirs fill up and they can't get any more. And as you notice, because I like talk about chakras and stuff, it's all about energy, making sure 4 connections are made with each color. So it's very ironic that as I continue to grow, like to see how the things you did as a kid definitely like impact you in the future in many ways. And the way this game works, like you can actually like shoot and attack the other person. Cause as you play, like little things come down. And if say for instance, like I could show you, like this right here, right? Uh this part right here, right? You see this coming down and it has the yellow on top. If you put 2 purples there, this will disappear and it'll make that go there and it'll disappear, but a shot will go to this side. It'll make a funny ass sound too. It'd be like, yeah, it'll be funny as hell. And the game was hella goddamn hella dope. And it got to a point where I can understand like the importance of not only energy but your setups. And my dad used to always say these 2 main things more than anything else. He used to say, know what you're supposed to do. And I never knew what the fuck what I was supposed to do. He never explained it. He just always said that. And he always would say that watch your setups. So that's something I just always been working on as much as that. My setups still working on that, but you know what I'm saying? It's a process. It's a process. It's a process. So
Definitely.
My dad
yeah.
said, well, my biological dad used to say, since I have 3 sayings, I'll just say them from each father I've had. I have my biological, my first stepdad, now my current stepdad. So my biological dad, his number 1 tip of advice he would always give me is always stay 2 steps ahead.
Mm-hmm.
My first stepdad, the one thing that I always remember him saying before he died was be yourself. And my current stepdad, this one has no correlation to any deep meaning. Funny. But what he taught me was all women are crazy, but it's just how much crazy you can handle.
That is a fact.
You have a point. Yeah. How much can you tolerate?
For real. That makes me go into the gym that Dre gave not too long ago. And before we get into it, it's about 9:30 now. We're gonna start slowing it down at like 9:40 and then get off by like 9:45. Because I do still have to edit these videos, and I know y'all gotta get up for stuff y'all gotta do tomorrow.
That's
So yeah. So what's the name? Dre said some really, really gems on the 17th. This was after we had hooped. He had said, was it 17? No. It was the 9th. Yes, it was the 9th. So he said these are Dre's gems. I'm gonna call these Dre's gems. DJ. He said the steps in relationships. Number 1, throw away your ego. Number 2, know your partner. Number 3, give time and space to process and analyze emotions about any conflict. And then number 4 is conflict resolution. My mom always told me that you always do better when you have a partner. And I believe that. And I've started to get to that point where, like, if I do a better job of getting a better relationship with myself, the person who I end up being with is gonna naturally just flow with what I already do for me. Like the woman I'm talking to now, right? She has craziness to her, like all women do. And for every woman I've always talked to, always dated, I always tell them, you look better when you're natural. You don't need a wig. Just saying. And she uses the word bitch a lot, right? And one day she had said it and she was referring to me. I was like, hey, look, don't call me that no more. And from now on, I don't even want you to call yourself a bitch because I don't fuck with bitches. She was like, well, okay, it's just a normal word I use a lot. I'm like, I get it, but you're not a bitch. And you don't be around bitches no more. So, you know what I'm saying? And we went on a date that this was the 15th. We went on a date, I think that Thursday. It was last Thursday. Yeah, it was last Thursday. When we went on the date, she didn't say bitch at all. Like she said it once. I think it was once after we was leaving because she was talking about something referred to what she saw. However, I was like, damn, you're actually getting good. I ain't heard not once today. She was like, really? I didn't even know. You must be really doing something good because the fact I ain't said it all day means something. I'm like, shit, oh God, nigga.
You know what's funny you say that?
I'm like, oh God.
It's
So
funny you say that, Jared, because just like Carrington told me, which is my girlfriend, she told me in the beginning of our relationship, during times, they always say, like, I guess I say I don't have it, but a lot of people say I'm broke when they don't have it. It's a difference when you say I don't have it right now than it's when you're broke. It's two different sayings. So
it is a
that
better
was what
saying.
way better saying. And she used to always say I'm broke. And one thing that she reminded me that I taught her is to not say that you're broke. You're not broke. Like I said, you just don't have it at the moment. You just don't have it right now. But you do have a job, so that doesn't mean you're broke, right? You have consistent money coming in. So just putting that perspective for her, she had reminded that to me. Like, I remember you did tell me something, and I don't use that word no more. I was like, wow, like it's like beginning a relationship. Now it's like I said, it's a learning, and it's like you're teaching them, and they're gaining perspective, and it's also reciprocal as well because they teach you as well, not only about them but about their experience as well. So I just want to piggyback off that because I felt that. So
100%, because like me and her have had conversations, and she would tell me like I'll explain something, right? And I'm giving like the nitty gritty of what I'm talking about, and then I get to the end. She was like, you could have just said that at the beginning. I'm like, what the fuck? Why you? And I laugh at it because it's like she's helping me summarize what I'm building towards instead of making it longer than it needs to be. So, like that reach one, teach one, you learn from somebody who you're with, and just as much as they learn from you is such a real thing because it develops as you continue to like grow together.
Each one.
Mm-hmm.
And each one teach one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So It's about to be 9. It's almost 9:35. So Dre been talking about this book all this live. I want to hear some gems about this book. Dre, I want to hear
He said
3
it 3
solid
times to
gems
be
that you've
exact.
learned
3
from
to
this
4
book.
times to be exact. He said it 3 to
For
4
real.
times. I ain't
I
gonna
want
lie.
to hear, like, I know there's at least 3 or 4 gems you picked up from it that we can take home and leave with today that
The
I can
book is
write in my
literally right
journal.
next. The book is right next to him.
Yep, I'm already knowing. I'm already knowing. Yeah, yeah. On God, we about to get it going. On God.
And literally the last pages of the journal, the book. You said 3, which is a good limit.
Facts.
Because I have quite a bit. But yeah, let's get into it. First one, I had, it was a quote, and he said, "Passion projects aren't really labor, just love in action."
Slow down. Slow down. Why? Nigga, say that shit again. Nigga, say that shit again.
He said, "Passion projects, quote unquote, aren't really labor, just love in action."
Damn. Passion projects are not labor. It's love and action.
And the way I
Damn.
broke it down is, passion is something that brings you fulfillment and pain. What you have a passion for ultimately pains you when you don't perform well in it. For example, my passion is art. It pains me when I don't draw, and it pains me when I do terrible. It fills me whether I do terrible or whether I do good. So a passion project to me is a goal that you have within your passion that's based on an expectation. It's not really work. It's more so your love for that passion moving towards that goal. And that's how I broke it down.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay.
And
Go ahead with number 2.
number 2, I wrote this down. Actually, 2 and 3 were just for me personally because I was convicted by it. And it said, "I was so heavenly minded that I was no longer any earthly good."
I feel like we've talked about that before. We've had a conversation about that before.
That I was earthly good.
I was so heavenly minded that I was no longer any earthly good.
Damn. And before you can build on that, heaven is the head, earthly good is the body, so the neck and below. That's damn near like saying he's in his head so much that he's not giving to the planet what his body is urging for. Damn.
I said, quote, "Because this exact mindset is what causes me not to be useful on earth sometimes. This mindset takes away what Jesus did, which was meeting people where they are." A heavenly figure, but one thing about Jesus, if you read about him, is that he will meet you wherever you are. If you're in hell, he will meet you there. If you're in the barbershop, he'll meet you there. If you're in the trap house, he'll meet you there. So if you're too heavenly minded and too self-righteous and too holy for earthly things, then God can't use you because you're too much built on pride.
What J. Cole say? Pride is the devil.
That's a bar.
And the last gem that I wrote was, "God created us to be individuals. He lovingly designs us to be set apart." And this is when he was talking about his daughter, like I was talking about earlier, and how he had certain expectations based off of what they built together when she was younger. And he didn't understand, like he was basically saying to the viewer, the reader, in that situation, I was trying to be the Holy Spirit for her. I was trying to do God's job, and that's not my job. So when I wrote that down, there's aspects in my life where I try to be the Holy Spirit for people, but it's not my job. I need to leave that to God and let him deal with it, because God created them to be set apart from you, to be set apart from Jared, to be set apart from Jahir, to be set apart from me, because the Holy Spirit speaks differently in everybody. So it was really just a moment of conviction and an eye opener. And that's the 3 gems that I got from this chapter.
What chapter are you currently on right now?
I think it's like chapter 13, I want to say.
I knew it was 13. I freaking knew it.
Yeah, I'm almost done with the book.
1-3.
Cooking.
I don't know why I was 1-3.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. All right, so
yeah, those are fire.
I'm gonna give some gems that I have from Tuesday. From gems of the day. So self-evaluation. Understand the spirit, understand the soul, overstand the body. Spirit is a spark, ignition, formation, exploration. Soul, map, formless, origin, and omnipotent. Body, feelings, senses, connections, and selfish, which is shellfish, so being in a shell. And then understand is under the truth, looking above for truth. That's understanding the spirit. Understand is oneness, mirroring the truth, mirroring your soul. And overstand is easily observed yet difficult to process. That's our emotions, our feelings, and things of that nature.
That's powerful.
Yup.
I think one quote or one gem I honestly been saying, and I also get this from my dad as well. Is like I said, I love this quote, and it just speaks with my life and many other people's life as well. Like, heavy is the fruit. What is it?
Heavy as the head as it is the crown, or something like that.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. How I missed that. Heavy is the head that bears the crown. I was making sure. But heavy is the head that bears the crown. And I say this in a way where, because you, before you even got what you have right now, you prayed for what you know what I'm saying, what you got. So just knowing all that what you went to get what you have, you have to be grateful, right? And what Jesus done, like, he had the crown of thorns, and he knew, right? He didn't want to do this, man. He didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? He was crying the day before he wanted to go on the cross. He couldn't get off the cross if he wanted to, right? But he did it for the sacrifice of us. So the fact that he did it, knowing that it was gonna free us and our sins, it was the sacrifice of a man, you know, in the true flesh of God, you know, and that's the crazy part, because he knew that was his destiny. So just bring it all together. When you're going through a trial and tribulation, just know, before you get that diploma, before you get that certificate, whatever it is, you was praying for this in the beginning to get that certificate, knowing it's going to be hard. It was never going to be easy. I always told my girl, because she's about to graduate, right? Why do you think all this stuff is happening now? Family, all these things is like, you know, you feel away because that, like, life is built like that. It's built to tear you down to build you back up, right? That's the whole point of life. And you either gonna, you know what I'm saying, stay on your knees, or you're gonna keep going and keep standing up, not only for yourself but to impact others. Because, like you just said, Jared, everybody's watching you, whether you know it or not. You know what I'm saying? So that's what, just putting that into perspective. I was only told like 2 or 3 people that today, right? And it hit them because, like I just said, you once prayed for this. Now you in year 4, right? Dre, you about to be 2026. It's about to come. Literally. This it's already May. It's about to go. This whole year can change, right? To graduation, man. So that's what I'm saying. Just, we have to be grateful for what we have and what we pray for, right? To accumulate more. So that's my quote.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. And I'm gonna leave it off with this. Our mothers provided us with the gift of life. God gave us the gift of the spirit and soul, and our fathers gave us the gift of our mind. So even when life gets hard, the one thing that remains is we're built to experience it and overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
We're built for everything that we're going through, no matter how hard, easy, scary, no matter what it is, we're built for the experience. So as long as we keep our chin up, keep our spirit strong, keep our heart open to our truth, things will get easier.
For sure.
Things will get easier.
I have no doubt about that.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. So
I
Sunday.
got,
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, brother. My bad.
so one thing to leave off with is a question, because we did bring a lot of information to the table, but this is a question for the audience and also for us to think about. And it starts off with a statement based off of what we're talking about, seasons. And I wrote down, a drought happens because of a buildup of things that you haven't been doing or that your season is about to change. So my question to leave off is, what do you feel has gone through a drought in your life? Just something as simple as that.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm writing this down right now.
Mm-hmm. I already got my answer.
Oh, my dumb ass wrote droughts.
Glad your answer, but they got to come back and watch the video to find out.
No, facts.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do is actually Jahir, homework, my brother. I'm gonna download this video. I'm gonna figure out how the way I can send it to you, because I know with longer videos it's so hard to send content through.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna figure out a way to send this to you and just clip it up. And what I'm gonna do is, you don't have to change the size of anything, just clip up the time periods and not worry about the rest of it. And eventually I'm gonna teach you how to do it too, like step by step, to make it easier.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna reconnect Sunday. Do y'all wanna, because I know I'm off Sunday. Do y'all have anything going on Sunday to where we can kind of come together, or do y'all want to do another stream yard like this?
I don't mind.
I don't mind coming together.
Okay, cool. Because we can set up a time period and do that, and go from there. And yeah, man, because this stuff is powerful, bro. I feel like we're all, our spirit as a collective is at a point where, like, okay, we need to give back. Like, I genuinely feel that way. So yeah, we'll work on times and stuff like that in nature. For those who's watching, thank you for observing this. Thank you for being part of the journey in this conversation. Send this to your mother, brother, sister, daughter, son. Send it to everybody
Send it to
who
your
you love.
auntie.
Because fact, send it to whoever you love, man. Because everybody needs to not only feel connected, but also know that they're worth it at the end of the day. So peace and love to you. Thank you, brothers, for all being here, man. I love y'all for real, from the bottom of my heart. I love y'all,
My
boys.
pleasure, man. Love you guys,
No
man.
cap. No cap. So yeah, y'all gonna see us again Sunday. Peace out. In